Good morning and welcome to the December 13th meeting of the Coalition of Little Rock Neighborhoods. I'm Kathy Wells, the president. We start by going around the room and introducing ourselves, and then we're going to have a discussion about competing land use plans in the county, which is of interest to Little Rock residents in the coalition membership because we are members of the No Sewage in My Drinking Water Club. And you might think we're protected, but there's concerns, and there's the neighbors next door. And we have common cause with the advocates from Pinnacle Mountain Community Coalition and from the Ferndale Neighborhood Watch, who are also watching out for keeping their drinking water clean. And it all goes into wells and underground aquifers. So we have a concern. I'm from the downtown area. Introduce yourself, Mary.
I'm Mary Henthorne from Ward 4.
I'm Dawn Vandiver from Ward 3, and I'm the president of the Heights Neighborhood Association.
Norman Hodges, Ward 3, Heights City.
Christina K.G. Gully, candidate for Justice of the Peace, District 10, and I'm also here with the Wendell Griffin campaign for county judge.
I'm Steve Walden. I'm from Sherwood, and I'm here with the Wendell Griffin campaign.
Denise Leeson. I live in the Central High neighborhood in Ward 1.
Marlene Michael. I'm the executive director of Michael Russian for Pulaski County Judge.
I'm Terry Drennan. I am from Ferndale and head the Ferndale Crime Watch.
I'm Chris Senafani, and I live in Roland, and I'm president of Pinnacle Mountain Community Coalition.
And I am Michael Russian. I'm here for the free coffee, but I'm also a candidate for Pulaski County Judge.
And we are hosts to a reporter and a photographer from the Arkansas Democrat. Thank you for coming. Pleased to be of public service here. Our live stream will be recorded and will be posted shortly after the meeting on our Facebook page at clrn.ar. So absent friends can be given the information that we share this morning. I do want to make one announcement before we get onto this topic. We finally got from city sources the new combined utility bill that shows with the increases they are proposing or have already imposed, the water and the sewer and the garbage fee rates. And for the typical residential customer, the monthly bill in 2026 totals $107.31. That is to say a garbage fee of $40.07, a sewer bill of $44.76, and a water bill of $22.48. We know this will be a struggle for many people, and there is a payment plan that is offered. They don't publicize it, but know and publicize, and it's on actually the water bill itself when you get it on the second page, that this is offered. And so long as you are on a payment plan and you continue on the payment plan and make those payments, you will not be cut off. So please bring that message back to your home neighborhoods. I'm going to pass around a comparison of the Garver plan, for which the county paid $500,000, and the Hyde plan, which came up out of secret ground. Take one and pass it, and it's a comparison of the two plans. And this is going to be the basis for our discussion. I'll give everybody a minute to read it once we have it. There's a big contrast. This is written by Randall Arendt, whose name is at the top. He is a professional land use planner and consultant. He, in fact, worked on the zoning ordinances for the Lake Maumelle watershed years ago. And he's now been brought into this discussion by the Pinnacle Mountain Community Coalition. And the big contrast is the very first item that he makes a technical reference to. The Garver plan calls for 5 acres per dwelling. in the agriculture category, which is, crudely speaking, half of the unincorporated area out there in the county. And in the rural residential, it should be kept to low density with 1.5 to 2 acres per dwelling. Contrasting that with the Hyde proposal, which is 2 dwelling units per acre, and for rural residential, 6 dwelling units per acre. So that's a really big distinction and difference. And there's also some flaws that he sees going through this, as I'll expect you to be reading for. The Hyde plan is simply missing some elements and some background and some links that are in the Garver plan. And as I said, there was no author cited for that one. We understand from very recent Freedom of Information actions that have come back that, in fact, Hyde required this to be written by his county planning staff. But there was no publicity about that. Yesterday, Judge Hyde essentially requested that Mike Wilson, the chairman of Pulaski County Planning Board, hold off on the scheduled December the 16th review and potential adoption of the Hyde plan. One presumes because of public upset about it, but he doesn't say. He just says in his letter, please delay action on this, take no action on the December 16th meeting, and have some community meetings and hearings on this in the new year. So he slowed that train down. It behooves all of us who are concerned about keeping sewage out of the drinking water, particularly in view of the fact that we have bad actors who have already been cited for repeated violations of their discharge permits from the state environmental agency, who have put subdivisions up inside the Maumelle watershed and outside, and now want to put more up outside the watershed in the Pinnacle Mountain area. That we have not let them slip in and managed to operate without proper attention and confinement and regulation. So the comments from Mr. Arendt go on to say he's got more distinctions in the Garver plan. He's got finds that the Garver plan is going to offer rural residential, low-density residential, mixed-use commercial, and other categories, whereas the Hyde plan only has 4 categories and lumps all commercial uses into 2 districts. He notices that slaughterhouses and poultry processing plants are permitted by right in the industrial district and could be near any residential or business boundary to those lines. It's interesting when you look on the map, there's a lot of different colors and categories on the Garver plan, but there's basically just the green and the yellow across the unincorporated map of the county in the Hyde plan. So it's a rather one-size-fits-all approach. Let's see. The slaughterhouse and processing plants industry category has no objective and measurable performance standards about allowing these uses next to residential areas. There are conditional use permit applications, but they are inadequate and skimpy and easily exploited. Planned unit developments in the Hyde plan come with a density bonus. 40% open space contains land unbuildable anyway. So you can basically maneuver to benefit for your profit. This was the plan that was adopted back in May. There was an amendment to take care of the late developing and territorial jurisdiction, ETG lands, 3 miles out from the city of Little Rock boundaries that no longer could be regulated by the city. So the county needed to step in and put some kind of regulation in place. And that was what was offered but pulled aside by Barry Hyde on November the 25th. That left nothing going forward until the December 2 meeting of the planning board, which all of a sudden, right after Thanksgiving, with no notice or discussion to anybody, became part of the agenda. And if you go to the December 2 agenda of the Pulaski County Planning Board, there you have the 54-page Barry Hyde plan. I can send that to you if you need it. The Garver plan is, of course, posted on its own page, as commonly would be done by official actions on planning and zoning. That is, by the way, a zoning plan in the Hyde proposal. It is a land use plan without zoning in the Garver proposal. There might become some zoning later, but they are not the same thing. So, that is what we are here today to share information about. I would like to ask Chris and Terry, you decide which one of you tells us something first and something second.
I think Ms. Gully might have a question for you.
Yeah, Ms. Gully, did you have a question?
Yes, I just have for clarification, in the Hyde plan, I'm reading this correctly, where it says slaughterhouses, poultry processing plants, permitted by right industrial mining district can be located near residential or business boundary without any review or regulation. So that would include also maybe perhaps shooting ranges, right?
I have not a clue about shooting ranges.
Okay, so.
Oh, she's
It
got
would
an
be-
answer. It does include.
It does include shooting range, okay, so in his plan, that would be allowed.
Yes.
After he objected to the shooting range in Rush Island, so he claims that he had no knowledge of. But in his plan, shooting ranges and slaughterhouses will be allowed in residential areas.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for clarifying.
And I'll tell you one thing to follow up on your point that should scare everybody. That last section of section 4 says, without any review or regulation.
Right.
That's an automatic green light to develop, and you can't do anything about it. That needs to be a worrisome topic for everybody that's affected by this legislation. The fact that a government entity is saying, without any review or regulation. When's the last time government didn't allow themselves to get in your business? You need to be worried about that comment.
So this is basically all political.
Yep.
I just want to get that out there, that's the way it's coming from, political.
Oh, yeah.
It's certainly coming from special interests
Yes,
who don't want regulation.
Right, but for a sitting county official, county judge, to come out into the unincorporated community and have other officials saying that he had no knowledge about that shooting range in Brushy Island, was against it, and did this public hearing and put on this big show, and yet in his plan, it's allowed. I have a problem with that, and so would the people in District 10.
Was there not a timeline here? Wasn't this discussion about the shooting range earlier than the Hyde plan?
Yes,
What was the date of the shooting range discussion?
It was back maybe like May, June. But
Well,
I remember back in May in the newspaper, it was quoted, Democrat Gazette. He said that he had no knowledge, and the current JP said he had no knowledge. But Hyco Construction bid on that shooting range and lost the bid to Baldwin and Shell. So for him to go and put in his Hyco plan that he will allow for that, that's very concerning for me. And I know.
Well, see, that came out really in November, and it was hastily prepared rather close in time to the December 2 submission for adoption by the Pulaski County Planning Board.
Yes, the city of
So
Sherwood
there was
submitted
months
their plan.
apart
Right.
from the no to the yes.
Right, yes. City of Sherwood did submit their plans, if you're talking about back November of last year to the county.
No. November, last month.
Last month.
See, this is all fresh and new.
I guess I'm getting confused with their plan that they originally submitted about a year ago to the county, but the county judge said he had no knowledge of it.
Well, that is very ancient history, and
Right.
it maybe was slipped his mind while we were dealing with the current
Right.
big writing.
But recently, he spoke against the shooting range in one of my communities, which is Brush Island, but yet in the Hyde Code plan, it would be allowed. So this is all political. It's not about what's in the best interest of the residents, it's about getting votes from our,
Duly noted. Thank you.
okay.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna, good morning. Kathy, thank you for inviting me. As you know, my name is Chris Senafani, and I'm president of PMCC, Pinnacle Mountain Community Coalition. Our organization started in 2021, and our purpose is to plan and act in ways to make our area a better community in which to live and raise a family. We encourage keeping the residential character of the land through compatible land usage. We're not against development, but we do believe in responsible development. We also believe in protecting the ecological integrity, biodiversity, and water quality of Lake Maumelle and Mill Bayou watersheds and their surrounding tributaries. We also inform our residents of what's concerning to them in our community. PMCC supported the land use plan, the Garver plan, and we worked on it for 2 years, attending meetings and encouraging our members and community to get involved and participate. The land use plan was to be a guide for the county to follow. The county spent $500,000 of taxpayer money for this plan. It was passed by the planning board, and it was to be sent to the quorum court for their approval. As you know, Judge Hyde pulled the plan off the agenda for the quorum court and instead tried to get the planning board to pass his land use code, which is basically countywide zoning. PMCC is opposed to this land use code. We support and approve the Garver land use plan. As Kathy mentioned, we hired a professional planner to help us create an ordinance for our area. His name is Randall Arndt. We asked him to review the land use code for us, and he sent his findings yesterday to the planning board and the quorum court. And he included a list of discrepancies adopted by the land use plan and the unapproved land use code, which is ultimately, as I said, countywide zoning that nobody wanted. Randall is well qualified with 50 years experience as a professional planner. He authored 7 books on rural planning, most of them published by the American Planning Association. He wrote a factual list of the problems he found with the proposed code. He also provided the planning board with recommendations to address the fundamental flaws of the hastily written zoning code. And he's worked with the planning board before. He helped with the Maumelle watershed project. He recommends that the proposal be sent back to the drawing board to address the many significant problems he found. He feels that this proposal isn't close to being ready for the planning board approval and forwarding to the quorum court. This proposal would affect tens of thousands of rural residents. It would become a law that would permanently affect the future of 250,000 acres, nearly 400 square mile unincorporated area. There are many reasons not to approve this land use code. One big problem is in the large rural AF and residential districts that would legalize extremely high residential densities, which are incredibly 9 to 12 times greater than those proposed in the recommended and approved land use plan by the planning board, and recommended and approved by the land use plan by the planning board and quorum court. The land use code's dense development proposal definitely favors developers over residents and would be served by numerous private, non-municipal packaged sewage treatment plants. These plants are notorious for failure and water pollution. He goes on to mention that these poorly maintained plants would be spread across the entire 400 square mile unincorporated area, permanently contaminating groundwater and drinking water wells. Another reason to reject this proposal is that the very large agricultural forestry district, it would legalize no less than 22 commercial uses, as has been mentioned. Some, in his estimation, should be in the industrial districts away from homes. Randall gives a third reason for putting the land use code on hold. He feels it's incomplete. It has no commercial districts and allows all commercial uses to be located through two mainly residential districts, which is the residential and agriculture and forestry districts. He says that in all his 50 years of professional practice, he has never seen an ordinance that fails to have commercial districts for commercial uses. Instead, the land use code lumps homes and businesses together in supposedly residential areas covering most of the 253,000 acres in the unincorporated area. The land use plan offers 4 kinds of commercial districts for compatible mixed use, with all the districts focused in a fairly small specific area rather than a widespread general area. He warns us that in the zoning code, there are only 3 land uses in the AF district: agriculture, forestry, and single-family homes. The problem with this is that the list of 22 commercial uses the land use allows would include fast food restaurants, junkyards, automobile graveyards, megastores with up to 100,000 square feet or 2.3 acres, facilities for collecting, processing, and treatment of waste, including large-scale commercial food processing waste and mining waste, non-municipal treatment plants of any size, outdoor storage, sale or disposal of industrial parts and equipment, billboards, commercial outdoor shooting ranges of any size, poultry processing plants, and slaughterhouses. Judge Hyde at the Planning Board meeting on December 2nd promised residents would be protected from some of these undesirable land uses by passing the zoning code. These commercial uses would be subject to conditional use applications, and this is a problem because the standards written for residential subdivisions don't address the problems of commercial uses. Relying on residential standards to regulate very different commercial uses is not adequate, and another reason to put this land use code on hold. The land use code fails to address the problems that can be caused by the 22 commercial uses, such as odors, noise, outdoor lighting, and glare. The code doesn't even include the basic requirements for landscaping and buffering. The most alarming issue is that the zoning code would allow the 22 types of commercial uses next door to the homes supposedly in the residential, agriculture, and forestry zoning districts. Randall also says that there is no valid emergency to pass the zoning code. The issues with the ETJ could be resolved with a site plan review ordinance to focus on only commercial or industrial development, or by the use of a continued moratorium that addresses specific issues. Randall supports the original land use plan based on its well-thought-out process versus the rush process for the zoning code. The land use class, it cost the taxpayers $500,000 and was a 2-year plan that involved all of Pulaski County. The land use code was created in secret with no public input or meetings before being presented to the planning board. No one wants countywide zoning, and in the December 2nd planning board meeting, not one person advocated for the land use code. When the quorum court passed the land use plan, they specifically acknowledged that the property owners of West Pulaski County support regulations that limit high-density and leapfrogging developments which lack infrastructure to support them. The Quorum Court also noted that Western Pulaski County may support narrowly tailored regulations to ensure the preservation of the rural and low-density characteristics of their communities, something that the proposed land use code doesn't protect. This land use code deserves a no vote and should be sent back to the drawing board to address the many significant problems with it. So we're urging our members, and we urge people to comment to your Justice of the Peace representative and to the planning board before the December 16th planning board meeting. Thank you.
Terry, what's your contribution?
I am Terry Drennan, and I live in Ferndale. I've lived in Ferndale my entire life. My grandmother at one point owned the corner in Ferndale where the Ferndale Market now resides. We had a dairy bar there. I worked there in the
Your
summers.
heavy industrial intersection.
Yes, yes. Well, it's a lot heavier than it used to be, and looking a little bit even more industrial these days. But Ferndale is my passion. It is my home. I remember my grandmother sold, her name was Jean Carnation, and Carnation Lane out in Ferndale where the tornado in 2014 hit that area, that is all my home. And I remember being about 7 or 8 years old, and we were driving through what I call the Hollow. It's Fletcher's Hollow. It's about a 2.5-mile stretch of woods
Oh, I've driven that
on
patch.
Canis Road. It's beautiful, worth preserving. And I
Mary, did you
remember-
get that, or do we need to bring a closer?
Can you bring it closer?
Yes. I was riding with my grandmother, who was a real estate mogul in her day. And I remember her telling me at about 7 years old, Terry, one of these days this will all be gone. And she said, this will all be houses and restaurants and businesses, and we called her Figgy. And I remember thinking, Figgy, that's not going to happen. Well, several years ago, we had a developer who owns the north side of the Hollow, part of the north side, south side, I'm sorry, of Fletcher's Hollow, so over here, and he wanted to come in and put, I don't even remember now, they were patio homes. He wanted to completely take out the ridge, and we had a group of community members who got together and fought, and I took this picture down to City Hall, and I remember Miss Wright looking at that and saying, let somebody come in and try to take Bull Park away. And we had an 8-1 vote in city board. We won. Very happy about that. A few weeks later, we got a proposal or a plan from Potlatch-Deltic, who owns the north side of Fletcher's Hollow, for their planned development. I was in a meeting, and my Apple Watch went off and alerted me that my heart was racing at 180 beats per minute. And I said, the meeting I was in was a group of people who are supposed to be help protect this group, this area. And I said, okay, wait a minute, who does this room represent? Because I thought we were about the citizens of West Pulaski County. And it became apparent to me very quickly that that was no longer the case, and Potlatch-Deltic was going to be allowed to do whatever they wanted to do. We were encouraged to all go down to, before this meeting, we had been encouraged to all go down to city board and support Potlatch-Deltic asking the city to annex that first mile of Fletcher's Hollow, because they wanted to help the community, work with the community to protect Fletcher's Hollow, because they held the same value of Fletcher's Hollow as the community.
That smells to high heaven.
Well,
They cut logs out of trees.
Yes, and after myself and another very involved community member stood against that, we were we were our services were no longer needed on that committee. A few weeks later, when I was in the meeting with this, and we got the plan, and we were told it's going to be responsible and respectful development. Marlene, would you hold that up? This is a photo that I took this spring in the same place. This is responsible and respectful development in Fletcher's Hollow.
That's a big circle,
It's a big, ugly
traffic circle.
circle. So that is where our fight began. And I realized that, bless her heart, Piggy was right in 1977 when she told me that one day Fletcher's Hollow would be gone. I'm going to read something that I posted on my own personal Facebook page to try to get people involved, because this makes my heart so happy that we are all here as Little Rock neighborhoods. Pinnacle Mountain people have been my people since they started, because they mean what they say. They don't just, oh, you can't fight progress, you can't fight money, you can't fight developers. Well, I would rather go down swinging than not fight for my home and for our communities. So I said, if you live anywhere in Pulaski County, please make yourself aware of all that Judge Hyde is trying to pull over on all of us. For 2 years, we have been told that the $500,000 taxpayer-funded land use study, which became the plan of the county, that's all we have heard for 2 years. We have to pass this plan. But let's hold all these meetings. We want to hear from you. Your comments matter. We're going to take these back to planning. They matter. We found out, yeah, it's not zoning. It's a plan. It's not zoning.
Right. Don't look.
Yeah, the shiny thing over here. So the plan for the county must be implemented for the sake of protecting the unincorporated areas of the county and beyond. Blame is being pushed onto the Arkansas legislature for ending the ETJ with Act 314. I, for one, living out in the county, was thrilled to know that the ETJ was going away, because I was tired of having to go down to the city and beg them not to let something happen that we don't want, or let things happen that we do want in our area when we don't have a vote in the city. So it going back to the county, to me, was, this is great. We actually have a vote. We have a say. In the city, we're taxation without representation, because those are not our elected officials. So this is all being pushed on the legislature for passing that, and then it being signed into law. This was to give the control back of the unincorporated areas back to the counties. Judge Hyde has acted as though he was surprised by this new authority given to the counties. In fact, we had billboards thrown up in western Pulaski County on Canis Road, and when the news reporter went and interviewed Judge Hyde, he said he was shocked and didn't know the ETJ was going away, and had no idea that this was going to happen. I guess he likes to fall back on, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So,
It's that time of the year.
yeah,
The bill up there that I didn't know about.
yeah. So he's acted though he's surprised by this new authority given to the counties. We were having a meeting on March 16th with Tab Townsell. Yes, you did. He is the Pulaski County Works Director, who was presenting again the land use study to those of us in Ferndale and beyond. And all we have heard again is that this land use is what is needed and best for all of Pulaski County. I assure you nobody at the county was surprised, because this was March 16th, and during this meeting, Senator Mark Johnson, who happens to also live in our community and has been a great spokesperson in standing with us to protect the unincorporated areas.
I think we didn't properly hear, he's a senator.
Yes, Senator Mark Johnson.
Thank
State
you.
Senator. Yes.
We gotta be speaking to the microphone,
Okay.
which needs to be clearly stated. Thank
Okay.
you.
He came in and announced that Act 314 had passed in the legislature that very day. We had what most of us thought was a good and honest conversation with Tab Townsend about what this meant for us going forward in the unincorporated areas where the ETJ would be taken away, what that meant for our protections. And Tab assured us that we would immediately lose all of our protections and told us that county planning would have to immediately be getting together and meeting with the different communities and districts before the law went into effect to discuss what needed to be done for our protections. Those meetings never took place. On August 5th, the day the law went into effect, 140 days after Governor Sanders signed the bill into law, we had, I believe, the number 12 billboards go up in the unincorporated area of Pulaski County. They're all on Canis Road. Some are on Canis Road where Baker Elementary is by Chewy's and Kroger and all that. The rest of them are from Costco out. And they're just...
Do you call them visual blight, which is the classic
Absolutely.
complaint against these, why we wanted to regulate these?
Yes.
So these are blighting
Dangerous. They're
to the
dangerous.
nature side.
And you remember what I told you at that meeting? As a business person, I said, I wouldn't worry about the billboards going up. I'd worry about what the billboards represent. As a business person, unless I need a tax write-off, I'm not dropping a billboard to market to 1,000 people. I'm dropping a billboard so I can sell advertising because there's going to be 10,000 people drive by that
Right,
billboard.
yeah.
So that was my biggest concern, was that's the writing on the wall
Of what
that
they
they've got a
have.
grandiose plan to develop Western Pulaski County. And I'm a real estate professional. I own Russian Home Real Estate. And just to be clear, if my name were on this right column and I was the county judge wanting to do 6 houses per acre instead of 2, it would be as unethical for me to say, okay, listen, I'm going to push this through as long as Russian Home is the exclusive listing agent for every house that goes in those areas. It would be as unethical for someone in the Hyde family that owns Hydeco Construction to be bidding these jobs to build banks and restaurants and things of that nature. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Let me be very clear about that. But we have to see the writing on the wall. The money is in the dirt in Western Pulaski County. If you look at the trends over the last 100 years, downtown was the place to be 100 years ago. Then it moved out and you had the Heights area. Then you had Pleasant Valley. Then you had Chenal Valley. Then the money moved south down Bowman and developed all that area. But the money is still in the dirt in Ferndale. That's why you're not having these meetings about College Station. Great community, but the money's not in the dirt. It is in Western Pulaski County. And so what I would encourage you to do as a group, you probably need to consult with a real estate lawyer or something of that effect and get a conglomerate together, because you're probably going to have to do like Sherwood did. Sherwood filed a case against the county over the gun range, proposed gun range. It's in court now. You probably need to get prepared to fight for your existence. We have communities that have identities, correct?
We do.
Petaway is Petaway. The Heights is the Heights. Chenal is Chenal. Can you imagine putting something that's not part of your community image in that community? Can you imagine living on the Heights and saying, hey, we're going to tear down this huge block and build a Kohl's? Heights would lose their mind. I mean, and every community has an identity. You're in that community, why? Because you love living in that environment. And I agree with you. As a business person, responsible growth is responsible growth. I mean, we're going to have to grow if we're going to have a strong society. We're going to have housing. And like you said, $500,000 of our tax money was spent for a plan that took 2 years to put together. And all of a sudden now we have this, oh, let's hurry up and get this plan through. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't show up December 16th, conveniently at 1 p.m., at that planning meeting, that letter that went out yesterday by the judge, that's a soft sell. You really need to do the best to hear the people. And please, the word please, please. At the last meeting we were at, what did he say? Well, I appointed all you on the planning commission. I have faith you're gonna do the right thing.
Trust me.
Trust me. Again, I'm the guy that gives the benefit of the doubt, but I also know how to read between the lines. And conveniently at that meeting, there was not enough physical board members to have a vote, so it became a public hearing. December 16th, 1 p.m. Don't be shocked if this passes. And everybody, I asked them, please. I asked them, please don't do that. Let everybody be heard. It's not the way that I would do business. I'd very be shocked if it's the way Wendell Griffin would do business. So, yeah, you need to keep your hair up on your back, and you need to be paying attention. You need to be ready to fight to keep your identity.
Well, we know, and have close, we do, but I'm just gonna make the point that we, in this coalition, know and have, close ties with, 2 board members. I won't name them to put them on the spot, but, that is not a uniform body. And we do need to be communicating with folks. This, hearing today, this, meeting today is gonna be, I will personally make sure that the planning board gets a copy of it, so if they look at it or not, they have been told. I'm gonna ask you, Chris, to send me that letter statement that you just read to us as an email attachment, and I will send that out to all of my 70 network folks and urge them to use it to speak to their JP. We all have JPs. I'm assuming that you've sent that to the planning board.
I haven't sent this particular one. We've sent other things to the planning
So
board.
you're current with the board. That's the main
Yes,
thing.
we've sent Randall's cover letter, and we sent all the information that he wrote saying why the code should not be.
So what I've just shared out today has gone to the planning board.
Yes.
I had thought so,
That's
but
one
it's
of the
good to
things.
nail that down. Now, sir, your question, Steve.
At Tuesday's agenda meeting, Rebecca Davis asked, I don't know, she didn't put in ordinance or anything, that the planning board move their meetings from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Did they agree to that?
Well, they hadn't got it yet as of Tuesday, so we need to find out before this Tuesday whether it's gonna be 1 o'clock or it's gonna be 6 o'clock.
Rebecca told me that it was a no.
Oh, it was a
That
no?
Dan said no. They wouldn't do it.
Well, I can say this much. I can't speak for Wendell Griffin, who I have a lot of respect for. And Wendell's not here today because he's taking care of a funeral
Yes, we
in his
told people.
pastoral duties, and I firmly respect that. If I'm elected as county judge, I'm sure Wendell will probably do the same thing. We're not going to have crucial meetings. This is a crucial meeting. It's about your identity. It's not going to be when you're at work 9 to 5. Being self-employed, my schedule is pretty liberal. I can come and go as I want. Most people have to work 9 to 5. These meetings need to be after you're off of work so that your voice can be heard. Worst case, if the vote goes your way or not, at least you had the right to be heard. And having a crucial meeting at 1 o'clock, we'll probably have 5 people there, and it's just not good business.
Well, and we know too, from being at the meeting on December 2nd, that even if you attend the meeting via Zoom and you send your comments in, for one, I was at the meeting. My husband had to attend from work. He stayed, at work and watched via Zoom. And he mentioned that the comments from online were being read far too fast, and people were saying on the online comments, can you please tell him to slow down the comments? We can't understand. If he felt that the comments were too long, he didn't read all of the comments. He just picked what he wanted to say.
I believe that was the last one.
Yes.
The last one was pretty long, so he summarized
Are
it.
you talking
Was
about
it
Tab?
Tab?
No, it was, I forget the gentleman. I'm horrible.
Mike Wilson is the chairman of the county.
It wasn't Mike.
It wasn't
It wasn't
Mike.
Mike. Yeah, we've
I'm
met the
sorry,
gentleman. I
I
can't
can't
remember his
remember
name.
that.
You know about Jim Craner?
Yes.
Yeah, the glasses.
Yes, it was Jim
Yeah.
Craner, yes. I would also like to say, back to the billboards, that these billboards were erected in the dark of night,
Right.
in a lightning storm. And we went down and we were saying, they're having a meeting, they're having an emergency meeting, this is gonna be stopped. And the man from the company said, we were told the poles go in the ground tonight. because they knew that there was gonna be a
Pushback.
moratorium go in the next morning as soon as it got signed. And so the boards were erected in the dark of night because the developer knew that the quorum court was an emergency meeting to invoke an emergency 6-month moratorium to keep the protections that the ETJ had provided. Why was this not done on March 17th when the bill was passed in the legislature? Or within the 140 days after Governor Sanders signed the bill into law? There are lots of questions there.
Okay.
And then I quoted I listed the article from the Democrat Gazette after the planning board meeting. This meeting did not go as Judge Hyde planned, and he stood and spoke with his back to the room, and after he said what he had to say, he turned and left, while a room of 60, 70 people stood there or had their say. The next day, 2 of those billboards in Ferndale were down,
Out of 12.
out of 12.
But isn't
But
that
the ones
convenient?
in Ferndale, at our 4-way intersection, 2 of them were down. Judge Hyde was at our parade on Saturday and bragged to several people, I'm glad we got some of those boards down so that I can show my face in Ferndale again.
Heard that remark.
We are not idiots. We know what's going on.
Read between the lines.
Yes, Christina.
You know, we had all these public hearings on the Wednesday. He's talking about more public hearings on the land use code. You know, you're still being ignored, still gonna do what he wants to do. It's time for a change. We have 2 options. Of course, you know my option is Judge Wyndham Griffin, then we got Mr. Rushing. It's time for a change. This man's a self-made millionaire. He's been in the position for what, about 12, 13 years? Not counting the House of Representatives. He has taken his constituents for granted, and it's time for a change.
We've been sold out.
Yeah, we have elected officials. We have elected officials supporting this on the quorum court, supporting this, and the Hyde plan. It's time for a change, guys. It's time for a change.
Okay. We're gonna try and avoid them.
So March 3rd,
voting thing.
I hope we get a change.
Well, my biggest issue is we've spent $500,000
Yes.
of our tax money for a considerate 2-year plan by an independent group, Garver & Garver, who's a well-established engineering firm. So we're gonna take $500,000 and throw it away for I gotta have a quick plan. All of a sudden, we gotta save the people. This is wrong. It is a waste of taxpayer dollars. I grew up in a wholesale family. Russian Postal Supply was a wholesaler. I grew up in making the dollar bill stretch. So why throw away $500,000 of our tax money and just ignore it?
That is a very good question.
That happens a lot. And
Did
then-
you have a question?
I do have, just have a question. I know one of the planning board, I know a lot of the planning board, but the most recent person on that planning commission is a resident of West. Do you know how she's leaning on this?
Of the quorum court or
No, the planning board.
She must be a Zoom, wouldn't she? There was
I
no
believe
lady
so.
there.
I have been told that she is in agreement with us.
I would think so,
Yeah.
because it's Bobby McDaniel.
Yeah.
that's-
Well, there was one gentleman on the planning commission that kind of chastised the judge, as he should. I just got this huge proposal yesterday. I haven't had even a chance to read it yet, so I don't feel comfortable voting yes or no because I don't know what's in it.
That was good government
Yeah.
comments.
Exactly.
I would like to offer another comparison before we close out. We're supposed to adjourn at noon, so we're closing in on this for final comments. Norman, you've got one map. If you would show that, hold it up. This is the Hyde Plan map. If you get to their 54-page plan, this is page 54. And as you can see, there's really no distinctions or categories. It's all, yellow residential and green agricultural forestry. And then there's all those allowances as we heard about it. You can see the industrial red that's right up next to it where everything goes. This is the Garver plan. Well, I've got several versions, but this one shows you residential yellow has got 3 alone, and then they have all these other categories. So their map has got a lot of different distinctions, and you talked about recognizing your local identities, and you talk about recognizing the variations between these corners of commerce and the residences nearby, and then something else further away that is another activity entirely.
It shows balance.
So that ends up looking like this.
You have that other map. Look them side by side.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a very good comparison.
Well, she can do that on her thing.
I'm gonna hold that other one up, showing the differences between the 2 maps. I believe that'll be this way.
Okay, there we go.
That's Western Pulaski.
There we go. Can you get that all in one?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want you to, if you don't go through all of the text, which I admit is a real slog, go to the plans, go to the back pages and look at the maps and look at the legends. Look at what they describe as their service categories. This to me is really a picture is worth 1,000 words. Because see, in the purple, they've got all these other special ones that were not distinguished in the Hyde plan. Industrial technology, 1. Mining extraction, 2. Landfills and solid waste, 3. Utilities, 4. Military area, 5. Air Force Base study area, 6. And Maumelle watershed zoning, which is its own thing, 7. So we got a lot for our $500,000.
Right.
And you can see it on the page, you can see it on the maps. I appreciate the urge to communicate with JPs and the planning board members and turn out if you can at 1 o'clock on December the 16th. And send in the material beforehand. All these folks have on the Pulaski County government page their information to contact them directly. And they need to hear from us, and the city JPs need to hear from us. That this is not something that they can just pass on or just sort of say, well, I'm going to do whatever so-and-so tells me to do because I don't know anything about it and it's not in my ward, not in my JP district. This is not the time to say that. This is the time to say these are all connected. Let's face it, water goes everywhere.
Right.
And let me remind you that these advocates found what an inspector of the Maumelle drinking watershed zoning area missed, which was a major storm water runoff into the lake, because everybody ain't perfect and all our employees don't get it right all the time. So we benefit in our water directly from the vigilance of the neighbors.
Absolutely.
So we need to keep in contact and we need to support each other.
I wanted to add to that too. At our last meeting with the Garver people out in the county, out near Roland, the last meeting we had, I asked how soon do we need to get emails in to the planning commissioners and the
Quorum Court.
Quorum Court members, and we were told at least a week. It's best to get those emails in at least a week before a meeting. So I have sent emails the day of and been confirmed, yes, your email did get out, but that kind of might give them a little more time to think about it, and so.
As a former justice of the peace, I just want to say that you never hear from people, and you're so right, you've got to be here in District 2, District 3, none of these ever hear from anybody in unincorporated areas, and their votes are crucial. And what you said today, they totally do not understand it, because I mean, the two of those people on there are two of my very best friends, and they do not understand what y'all been telling me today. I mean, so they need to,
So you need to be sending your
Yes.
material today before bedtime.
Yes.
That's my basic deadline, is you
and
send it
during
before
Christmas, the
bedtime.
worst time we can possibly, busiest time of the year right now.
Yeah.
Which is part of the sneaky,
And I
pass it, behind your back.
One thing I would encourage people to do that are truly concerned, like you ladies are, and many in your community, is go to your boss and say, hey, can I take a late lunch break? Because the meeting is at 1, so instead of taking lunch at noon, take lunch at 1. At least you can be there to stand up for what you believe in and give your voice some traction. I mean, it's just one of those things, I reiterate it, you should not be having crucial meetings like this when people cannot attend. I know we live in a tech world and you can be on Zoom, but when you gotta face somebody eye to eye and make a decision that negatively impacts their lives, it takes a lot of gumption to look someone in the eye and say, I'm sorry you're concerned, but we're gonna run right through that. So anyway, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And thank you so much for allowing us to speak and be heard. And I think we had a very, very productive meeting.
I think that we all exchange news and views of great importance. We like to be that agent of information and getting it to the right people in the coalition. We've been doing this since 1990. And by the way, just as an historical footnote, early on in the years, we had guest speaker who was in charge of the sewer utility of the day. And he echoed exactly what you said about the dirt in western Pulaski County is going to be developed. If you imagine, this was the takeaway from his meeting, if you imagine all of the sewer lines, which we know run downhill for efficient, low-dollar economy in sewer lines, that services all of the existing city of Little Rock, from the port and the airport all the way to heck and gone out yonder. That's one big bowl of geology that goes downhill. But the ridge at the western edge is Pleasant Valley. So we needed a second treatment plant in the next bowl, which is the size of this existing bowl. So if you just take this bowl and you put it to the west and you reach the Perry County line with it, that is where the development goes. And they've already provided the sewer for that. That Pinnacle Mountain Sewer Treatment Plant that's running today is number 1 of 4 units, because they have provided the place and the model for providing sewage treatment for all this western bowl for essentially from now to the end of the century. And they aren't doing that if that isn't where every analysis tells them they need to provide sewer for people coming to live and work and play and do business. So, all of you folks who live there now and want a particular kind of development and do not want another kind of development needs to be vigilant, and you need to have regular attendance on these plans and get on these mailing lists and follow the agendas of these meetings for the quorum court and the planning board, because you will be under pressure from now on, period.
Right.
Just take it to the bank.
It's a war of attrition.
Yep. So we stand adjourned and we conclude this meeting, and thank you all. It will be posted, the link on at clrn.ar, our Facebook page. Thank you.